immediately following the video of, well, the previous one. I'm going to show the stitching used, the herringbone stitch, because a couple of people have asked about that. And I'm going to start by using a herringbone to baste the canvas of the inner apron in place. Generally I don't do this until after I've done this, but I'm doing it now so that you can see. I do a simple back stitch, no knot or anything else. So you can see the herringbone stitch. Now this is rather large, but its purpose in this case is to hold the canvas and the tartan in the correct relationship to each other without the use of pins. As you can see, as the pin becomes not needed, I immediately pull it out and put it away. Oftentimes I find myself, I'll be counting pins in and out like a surgeon counts his clamps. So there we are, and just a simple back stitch at each end like that, no knots or anything else. And then when this is done, this is going to hold it in place while we press it, while we get the top band on, because if you don't, you're sewing the top band on, if it isn't held in place like this, the canvas slips a little bit and it's not being held, and it turns out to be a bit of a failure. So after I've done that, I'm going to stitch the canvas to the inner apron here, leaving it a space of about a finger width down from the top, because that's going to allow my lining to go in there, and just a little bit in from the edge as well. And that's going to be, again, simply back and forth like that, not penetrating to the outside or as much as possible. Although again, by having the stitches align with the pattern in the material, it makes it harder to see. So we'll put that aside for a minute. I'm just going to put this pin or the needle there, and then rolling forward, this is the herringbone stitch. I've started at the corner here of sewing over the tartan. I've brought it up to this first fold. Let's get rid of that pin, and I sew it, as you can see, 1 and a back stitch, 2 and a back stitch, 3 and a back stitch, and then I keep going again. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I run out of thread. Might come around a little bit over my shoulder there like that. Good. I'm going to do this until I run out of thread. I'm doing it as close to the edge as possible. I'm not sewing all the way through to the outside. I'm catching several layers, but I'm not going through to the outside. So I do this until I run out of thread, and then I tie in another, and I keep going. And I keep doing that back and forth until we've got generally 6 rows of this. And again, the advantage of the herringbone stitch is it doesn't stretch at all in this direction, but it has a little bit of give in this direction. And that's absolutely the proper stitch to use for this application. So there we are. I'll keep going with that. Same thing again, back, 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 and then to the end. We keep doing that back and forth. Once that is done, then I'll put in the front apron canvas, which will be here. And generally, when I've cut that canvas, as I saw in the previous video, this is a reciprocal angle. So when I put it in, and I tuck it in underneath that, tuck it right in, as you can see, I'll pin it in place. I'll take a look to see where the edge of the pleat is. These are very narrow pleats. There's the edge of the pleat. So I know that I can sew a herringbone stitch back and forth here. It'll hold it nicely in position. Then I will do almost a lacing stitch, the same way I did with that you just saw, all the way down to the buttonhole, giving it a little bit of extra space on either side. So that lacing stitch on either side. Then I'll flip it over, shape the outside apron, and we'll carry on. Thank you.